Princess, major trouble! King Koopa has brought a plague of Paragoombas to eat your kingdom for lunch!
Yep, that's right. Super Mario Bros. Also had its own cartoon. Maybe it's not the best well known, but it was quite popular in the US, in Latin America, and even in Russia. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, my name is Luis. That's right, I'm not the bad guy from The Incredibles. I'm a political consultant who has been checking out some cartoons to understand where our political thoughts are coming from. So, if you were familiar with Super Mario Bros., maybe you were familiar more with the video games. That's right, we were all playing around, picking up coins, trying to save Peach from Bowser. So in this series from 1990, Super Mario was trying to live and portray the life of the regular day in the Mushroom Kingdom, where the Peach, for once, was not kidnapped every day by Bowser, but instead was running business, they were going on adventures, and then they were checking out what was Koopa doing, in that case Bowser, with its 7 kids. So I'm really curious about this one because I don't fully remember this cartoon, so here we go! So the episode we'll be talking about today is called Princess Peach for President. So apparently in the Mushroom Kingdom there are elections and Princess Peach is running against Bowser, not to be kidnapped, but this time to actually run in a fair election against this guy. So I'm very curious about this thing because if anything we learn as a kid is that Bowser doesn't play by the rules. And then I'm also very curious about what's the role of Mario here. Maybe he is a campaign manager, maybe he's just a supporter, maybe he's an advisor. Anyways, let's just get into it.
Too bad, Dad. I was sure you were finally going to become boss of the Mushroom Kingdom.
If you're so eager to rule my people, why don't you do it the right way? There's an election coming up. Let the people decide who they want, and the loser will leave the kingdom.
Koopa's too chicken to let people vote.
Me? Never. I can beat Princess Toadstool with one claw tied behind my back.
You're on, Koopa. We'll settle this fair and square, once and for all. Deal?
Deal. Best one I've ever made.
So before we continue, the cartoon is quite disturbing on its design. If we don't take that into consideration, it's actually very funny because that always happens that many people will actually enter into a competition with an opposer who doesn't play by the rules and then that you know is going to play unfairly, and then you try to bring him or her to the competition, to the election, just to say play by the rules. If you want to actually play in the democratic game, I'm pretty sure that we will campaign and then people will trust me. But then many times actually that can be very dangerous, especially if you know that the other person is not playing by the rule. So one thing that you always have to do, and then that many people when actually start movements and so on, is that they need to map who is on their side and who is their opposition. And if you have an idea of who your opposition is and you know that they're not playing by the rules, actually trying to engage them in the same rules that you're playing when you're playing in the democratic game is maybe not the best strategy.
You should have never let me get into this. In case you haven't noticed, I'm not as well liked as Princess Toadstool.
Maybe you could try being nice.
Me? Nice? I've never been nice in my life.
It's King Dad. Cookie Von Koopa's got the answer to your problems.
You numbskull! You nincompoop, you! Charming, considerate, handsome little angel.
Before we continue, this is very funny because the advice to this outsider is just to be nice. This is a cartoon from the 90s, and actually you will see right now a lot of politicians who maybe are not the nicest, and that is actually their brand. That's where they get their best capital on, because if you see Trump, if you see many of these populists that are being surging, they are portraying as this strong man, which depends on how you define being strong, but then actually they're being capitalized on being this badass character. So trying to change someone just like for being nice is a very bad thing. And also, let me just emphasize on this. I have always been talking about being authentic to yourself. So actually, if Copa is this badass guy, I think that the best thing that he can just do for himself is to present himself as the person that he is, and maybe he can be a candidate for law and order, this strict guy who just wants order in the kingdom, instead of just trying to change his own character and then deceive some people, and then at the end result not being the person that he's trying to become.
I challenged King Koopa to run against me in a fair election, but obviously he isn't reptile enough to come and debate me. Huh?
There's nothing to debate, you wonderful mushroom people. Here, take my money. And nice old King Koopa says, have a nice day.
Well, that's a technique. It's actually very sad that he is not willing to enter into a debate, especially if he took in this cocktail to actually be nice, because the problem of crime actually in the Mushroom Kingdom is a big one. Maybe he could tackle some of these issues. Maybe he could actually blame it on Mario and Luigi, who are always trying to disrupt things even when they're actually not even from there. Just dropping some ideas, maybe not the most obvious ones. But this is very sad because actually he approached the whole problem with a very populist thinking, with saying, here is, take some money. You see it in some politicians here, for example in Hungary. You see some people actually giving food for votes. That's not very nice. So it's actually very interesting how he approached the being nice. Instead of actually talking to people and trying to convince them that he was nice, he's just giving them stuff, which is not the best strategy ever.
Toys for your kitties, flea collars for your pets, free false teeth for your grandmothers.
Yay! Nice Koopa! Yay!
It's a very interesting thing how actually you see the people that fell down over this person just because he's giving some things, just because he's showing some power, and then you see Koopa entering, or Bowser entering with this boat that is popular in the video games. That is a flying boat, and then that's a symbol of power, and then he's giving toys, money, and so on. And you see people cheering, and actually that's not a surprise. And then a very big mistake is many times of us doing the good cause, trying to go and then engage people on the right methods. Many times we will get frustrated, and then you will see, for example, that your opponent, just because it has a little bit more resources, can pull out, you know, maybe a concert, maybe a free performance, maybe actually some packages with food, and people will actually get appeal about that. And then there is no right or wrong answer in saying that, oh, you should just call that or call out that as populist, because you should, obviously. But you should not for sure get frustrated when you see these things happening. Instead, you should let that emotion just arise, and then ultimately talk to the people again to make them come back with being your honest self, and then to actually make them understand that this is just a little band-aid on the wound. It's not the solution to the problem.
Well, hello there, little fella. Goo 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 ga ga ga. Give your uncle a big kiss. Why, you little sweet thing. Yeah, I hate little mushroom brats.
Don't let the voting public hear you say that, King Dad.
I don't care if they hear me or not. I'm sick of being nice.
Oh, brother! It looks like the nice guy potion is wearing off.
You heard my speech. Now listen to King Koopa. Then decide who you want as your leader.
I'm not going out there. This election was a stupid idea anyway. And if I want something, I'll just take it.
Come on, King Dad. You can fake your way through this.
Sure, you're the biggest fake around.
That's right. Nobody's a bigger fake than me. They want nice, I'll give them nice.
This is actually very funny, and actually they're reminding me of how Trump was dealing with the whole debate situation against Biden. I just remember that actually there were supposed to be 3 debates, and after the fiasco of the first debate in the last 2020 elections, he did not agree to meet up again because it was a format of online, and he was just saying, I'm not going to do this, I will win anyways. If I want to have communication, I can have it, I don't need a debate. So it's actually very funny because this is a very good reminder, and this is a cartoon from the 90s.
Thank you! Thank you, my adoring fans!
Bowser Koopa! I just heard that you used a nice guy potion to try and win this election!
That's a lie! I don't need a potion to be nice, and I'll pound anyone who says I do into mush!
So first of all, that's a terrible debate. There is no moderator, there is no one actually controlling the show, and that's what would happen actually in a town hall or something. I mean, you will have one candidate screaming to the other and it will be a pandemonium, because if in my eyes, I know how bad Bowser is, but I'm just judging very much the princess just for shouting out and then just making these accusations in the middle of this forum and without a format. I would raise up the issue that he is using, that he's fake and that he's actually just faking it for the campaign, but I will find another forum, not in this way. This seems a little bit not very skilled and not very thoughtful of her, so I would actually advise not to use debates to do this, but instead to actually release information and do it through press conferences, to press releases and so on, and use the debates only to raise your profile up, actually.
The votes have been counted, and the winner is, by a vote of 6,436,212 to 1, Princess Toadstool!
Wow!
How could I be the only guy who voted for me?
We couldn't help it, King Dad. We had to vote for her. She's so nice, and you're so...
Get even the votes of his kids. Actually, it's very sad because in the cartoon, I mean, there are only 2 of them showing up, but in the video game there are 7. So it is very sad that it was 6 million against 1. With this in mind, I don't know also how long the campaign was, but then I did not know that 6 million mushrooms were living in that kingdom, which is crazy if you think about it. So obviously I have some concerns and comments about the quality of this cartoon, because of course it was emphasizing on the storyline and trying to sell more video games. I mean, let's remember that in the 90s Nintendo was releasing this Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3, and then was preparing for the release of the Nintendo 64, but this cartoon was just a mess when it came to graphics, and I am just saying that with a lot of it's not love what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's hate. The word is hate. But let's try to end up in a positive note and then draw some conclusions and some lessons from this episode. Let's take immediately 2 main lessons or main ideas that I got from this episode. The first one is actually on controlling the people that work for you in the campaign. You might have the best intentions, you might have the best willingness to actually run a very clean campaign, but then maybe you will have some people in your team who are not willing to play the game by the rules as you do. And this is very important because you do have the power, and we do all have the power to make alignment calls. At the end of the day, if we are entering into social causes, if we're entering into the political causes, and probably if you're in this channel, it's because you want to engage with people in an ethical way. So what you want to do is to make sure that everybody in your campaign and everybody in your team share your same desire to actually stay clean, stay nice, and not go for meaningless political games that at the end of the day just will undermine your campaign if those are being discovered. The second lesson that I want to emphasize here is actually on the power that it has a good genuine message. And then I've been talking about this in different videos, I've been talking about it in this other series that I've been doing, but then remaining authentic to yourself is key when you are in a political campaign. Do not try to paint yourself as whomever you are not. And this is not only running campaigns, this is also in positions of leadership or wherever we are in the front line. We have to present ourselves as we are, and we need to be proud of who we are. There are a lot of people who actually think, oh, I'm going to enter into politics, oh, I'm going to have an interview because I have a social movement and I have to appear in a certain way, and that is actually a false. That is your inner saboteur just telling you not to act and then not to be authentic, just to compensate with some of the insecurities that we have. But again, once that people realize and then get to know you better, then we'll see your true self. So actually, if you put on a mask and if you put on a facade that actually is not representing who you really are, you will be discovered, and then you might be ended up just as Bowser with only 1 vote and 6 million against you.
Oops, he's got more than ever.
Well, this guy has some anger management problems. But anyways, this was a nice episode overall. It's interesting to see that even in a monarchy like the Mushroom Kingdom, there are elections, there are actually a dynamic where people actually need to see and need to meet people need to be engaged. We only see the story of Mario, obviously, in the video game as these 2 heroes, and then that's actually something that I would like to emphasize. They're never heroes in the stories of the real life. We see people in the front line, we see people actually representing us, but that doesn't mean that they're the heroes. I mean, like, actually all of us as a community, we're heroes in our own stories. So I appreciate their heroism, but then I encourage all of us to be the heroes of our own communities, and then to actually take on the step to be more socially engaged. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section, maybe give a like, subscribe, share the channel if you liked it, and then I hope to see you next time. See ya!